So what we'll do today is we'll actually flip flop it, and we'll visit with Mary first, just because I want to make sure that we get as much information out of her as we can. So let's do that first. So Mary, you just recently did LinkedIn Remastered, and it was great.
Many of you were part of it. Thank you.
Yep, for sure. So what I kind of wanted to do is, events have always been a big deal. Everything's kind of gone virtual. We've talked about events in the past, but you kind of just dove in, right? You've recently dove in. You're fresh out of the meat grinder. And if you want to share some of the things that for you worked, didn't work, what would you do differently? I've got some of those questions like, solving world hunger that I want to ask you.
I'm totally here to solve world hunger and create world peace. And I think we're really close, and give me another 7 days and all the world problems will be solved.
Okay, cool.
Not.
Okay. So is there a place that is there a place that you'd like to begin, or could we ask you some questions? Okay, go for it.
You can ask me questions. I did, because Isaac gave me so much prep time for this. So there is no formal presentation. There are Post-it notes.
Yeah, that's okay. That is okay. So Mary, why don't you just start, and then I might interrupt with some questions, and if anyone else
make it interactive. The one thing I learned, I want to say off the bat, I would create this event 3 weeks prior, maybe 4. And the reason why, that first week, you're tweaking things, you're getting the speakers engaged. So I would actually do a 4-week, and that first week you're inviting the speakers to the event. So if you're doing, and it doesn't matter if it's online or in person, I 100% am behind LinkedIn events. I've done them half-heartedly in the past for my show, but having this masterclass that I did, the LinkedIn event made the difference in the signups, 100%. I would create it 4 weeks ahead of time, and I would give myself that 1 week. You want to invite any speakers that you have. So you have to edit the event and invite them, and then you have to get them to accept it.
Yeah.
So that takes time, right? And you want to follow up and make sure that you explain in an email to them, hey, I've created a LinkedIn event. Here's the link. I'm inviting you as a speaker. Please accept that invitation so that you will be shown as a speaker. And then I would like you to invite, as many people as possible, and let them know, hey, you can invite up to 1,000 people a week. Nobody wants to sit there and do that. Have your VA do that, or just go through and, do 100 a day. You can sit and do 100 a day easily. But that is like tip number 1. I created my event too late.
Okay. So can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. So you're saying that for your event, and there's probably a little extra bias because it was LinkedIn Remastered and there's a LinkedIn event, but so you're saying that doing the event with the lead form, it really was beneficial. It was worth the time. Yeah.
Totally. So that's just step 1, because we had 282 people sign up on LinkedIn. Nice. And I created it like the week before. Remember, I was like, frazzled. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta do that. I was creating the event, but I didn't invite the speakers. So that was a missing component, right? I was tardy in inviting the speakers to the event.
Is there a different way you invite the speakers because they're part of the event than inviting attendees?
Yes. So you go to manage event. I think it's manage event.
Yeah.
I think it's manage event, and you can add them, or is it details? I think it's manage event, and then you invite the speakers.
Yep.
So most of my speakers are still.
If you're the speaker, would you add yourself as the speaker in there? Is that a step that you would do, or are you automatically there?
No, you can't.
You just have to. You get an invite to accept that you're a speaker, and you have to click accept.
You're automatically the host.
Yeah.
And so if you're also speaking, it doesn't matter, you're the host.
Yeah.
And then you can add additional speakers.
Also though, I just did this yesterday. If you're the host, you can still add yourself as the speaker, because not every time you're
That was
Yeah.
my
Oh,
question.
So
Yeah,
okay.
that was
if
my
you
question.
are if you're organizing it and you're the host and a speaker, you still have to add yourself. You don't have to accept the invite, but you do have to add yourself.
Yeah.
And
So,
Mary,
yeah,
and
so
Mary's saying-
start 4 weeks ahead, invite the speakers, your speakers to be a speaker at your event, because that's going to add more credibility, right? So
Mhm.
like we have this list of speakers. Unfortunately, I did it so late, that many of them didn't accept the invitation and they didn't understand. So that's on me, the learning curve. Yes, Isaac.
So you think that, so you're saying give yourself about a week
To get everybody on
to
board.
get everybody on board, to communicate it to that kind of tier 1 group of people who are involved. That's really good to know. Yeah.
Create an email that goes out, because just because someone's on LinkedIn, what do we know? Doesn't mean they're active on LinkedIn, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
They
it's
can
true.
have a great profile, right? And they might do some engagement, but they're not on LinkedIn like we are. And so create an email that is for the speakers about this LinkedIn event. Whenever you're doing the online event, like Isaac, Stephanie, Bez, you guys know, I had emails drafted asking you to share it with your email list once, share it on social media twice, but having that LinkedIn event, that's another component. So you need to be clear on what you want them to do with that.
So Mary, did you do any
Another-
posting during the week or leading up to it within the group? And did you have success with that?
So I did post in the event. That's what you're asking. Yeah. So
Right.
I did shout outs to the sponsors and I tagged them. I put some of the speakers in there and tried to tag them. I did a poll. I wasn't successful on that. Now, when you put a post on an event, you can notify the attendees. So
Yeah, so you really want to get everybody invited, almost like you want that to be done a week before, so that you can remind them with post notifications and stuff.
well, people were adding on every day. So I wouldn't say wait until, the week before and start posting. I think having the posts in the event was actually more engaging. People would go to the event and it's like something just broke.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Is that the cat?
that's-
Is that Brittany, the kitty, breaking something?
Let me just go make sure she's okay. Hold on. You're
Okay.
in my ear. Oh my gosh.
Just to Mary's point,
So Isaac, one of my questions is going to be, if you want to promote the event via email, you're sending emails out. Do you want to drive people to the LinkedIn event, or do you want to drive them to the registration page for the event? You get one link. Do you take them directly to the register for the webinar, or do you take them to the LinkedIn deal so that they can go there and then hopefully they'll also follow through?
Landing page.
Mary say she was listening the whole
So
time.
you're in my ears. I think she broke my martini glass. I don't.
Oh, that was probably better for your health now. She's looking out for you.
No, martinis are good. Stress
No,
relief.
you got
Mhm.
others.
Hendrix, straight up, no mix.
No, you got to go to plastic.
Love Hendrix.
Are you saying, so on the LinkedIn event, right? There's information of how to register, because all the registration. Okay, let me back up. Here's a problem with a LinkedIn event, right? It's great because they use the form and then you have to export their emails and then import them into your email server. So every day I would export the list and I would give it to my VA and say, import everyone, so they could get the email drips, right? We had 4 emails going out to all attendees. So that's the manual process. Export the list, give it to your VA, have them upload it, and they'll automatically start getting the emails. Where it gets tricky is, here's one of the problems I had. My emails, people weren't always getting my emails. They were going to promotions and junk.
Mhm.
And I worked on the headlines, we worked on the subject. It just didn't matter. That's going to happen. So I did posting inside the event, like, hey guys, just wanted to let you know, you should have gotten a couple emails. If you didn't, please email me. And I had them email me. So I had like 5 people reach out and say, hey, I didn't get it, when we showed that they did, but.
Gotcha. So, so Mike was saying, should you send them to the event to register? Should you send them to the, like a landing page to register? It sounds like.
Send them direct to go to webinar or to direct to Zoom to register right on Zoom itself or so. I mean,
Well, see, I wasn't using Zoom. So it really depends, Mike, what your platform is. So
sounds
the
like
master class, we had 2 videos drip out. So it was on my website, so I could control it all. And the videos for mine, it was 7 days long. And you got 2 videos a day for 48 hours.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm doing a webinar on September 20th. That's why I'm really keen to this. So Mary, you and I we'll chat again. Just you and I after.
So this is a great way to drive up your registrations. You will need, so you give them they're going to join on LinkedIn. And what will happen is you will get, what will happen is you will just export the attendee list and import it into your email server, and you will nurture them and give them the Zoom link that way. Is it a free thing?
Yeah, I was going to say free or paid is your gotcha in that process.
So is it free, Mike?
I had intended to drive people right to the registration page on Zoom. Right to it. They get the intro of what it's about. It's the simplest thing.
Is it free?
That might not be the right way to do it.
Is it a free event?
Yeah.
Then you could actually put the link here on the LinkedIn I want the emails because I want to nurture people. And mine was different because we had the free and then we had a VIP version.
Well, and you still get the emails because if they're signing up on Zoom,
yeah.
you could export them from there and toss them into your drip.
Right. And there's all kinds of Zaps and Zoom apps and stuff to put it into places to do things right out of Zoom. But I don't know much about the email world here, so I'm really listening. That's what I had intended to do.
Well, and my question is, so on creating events, do we see a difference when we're creating an event on a personal profile versus an event hosted by a business page?
So I did this one on my business page.
Okay.
To test it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, this is my first one that I did, and I don't know, 282 signups just on LinkedIn with that. I mean, literally it was like 7 days.
Pretty fantastic.
I was very happy with it.
Would you still do it from your page, or would you do it from a profile now that you know what you know?
Well, I don't know. I haven't done it from my profile. Would I have done
more?
I mean,
extra knowledge that you have. I mean, if you had, would you think you did the right thing?
I would say that I did the right thing because I was driving traffic, right? We were driving traffic. How we drove. So Mike, it's just inviting the people. Like I was inviting random people, and random people were saying yes. And I did get like a couple new clients from this. So I'm like, cool, we'll see where this goes.
I think if you have a company page, you always want to push it there as opposed to your personal profile, just because it's going to, get your brand. You do want to push that brand authority there as well, because you engage so many people with your personal profile. This is one opportunity to really promote.
And we did get more followers on Mary Fane Brandt Coaching and Consulting. So we did get, we picked up more followers that way. Not that I have, the most amazing company page. I don't do a lot with it, but I feel it is important to have one and do some engagement over there. So this, Monty, you're right. Like this was a great opportunity to get my company page.
I think the people on this call here, especially, many of us are known more for our brand by our name than by our company. So that's what I'm saying. Most of us here, I think it probably goes but especially if you had your head out there like Mary has, Judy's.
But also my company name is my name. So I have that kind of benefit. I'm Mary Fane Brandt, and I'm Mary Fane Brandt Coaching and Consulting. I chose to go with my name.
So Mary,
what do you think about that? I mean, if you're let's say you have more recognition as a person than as a company, here's an opportunity.
I would do it on my personal profile.
Here's more opportunity to gain
Yeah.
exposure for the company brand. Maybe that's,
I mean, I think this needs to be tested more, right? And so,
I'll let you know. Maybe I'll try the other thing and we'll see how that goes.
and it's about inviting the people, Mike, right? It's literally, I'm going to tell you, the key is sitting and inviting people to the event and having your speakers invite people to the event. Like that needs to be part, like if I were to do another one, like that would be part of the stipulation, because I just gave them free advertising. I'm hoping the next one we have like 1,000 people, maybe 1,500 people sign up. You're
Well,
going to
and
get in front of those.
My experience when we hosted Digital First Midwest here in Kansas City, what we really found, the traction that we gained was when I put together a speakers packet and sent it to them with digital collateral. Like here are the posts. Just save the image and go post it
That's
to your
what we did.
profile. Here's the list of hashtags that we're using. You can copy and paste it. Here's all of the handles for the other people that are speaking. Here's what we want you to actually go and share. And we scripted it to some level for them with the digital collateral and everything. And when we started doing that and sending them like a weekly reminder, because of course ours was an in-person event, so we started planning like almost a year in advance. When we started doing that, that was when we found traction.
And we did the same thing, but Tracy, good point. I didn't do the follow-up as much, right? Isaac, Stephanie, I think once I did follow-up. I don't know, I can't remember.
I got a couple emails from maybe someone on your team about doing stuff. Yeah.
But we did the same thing. We had social media. Like I think I gave everyone like 3 posts they could use. We gave an email template and we said, go, your community, tweak it, make it your voice, but here it is. And then we had Google Drive, like we had tons of images, we had group image, we had speaker image, we had sponsor images, all that pre-work. I told people, like, if I had known how much work this was, and it's just me and my VA in the Philippines and, my branding person, I don't know if I would have done this. Like, I had no idea it was this much work.
300 hours later.
And I would get sponsorship. Like I'm going to do, so the game plan for this one, I've got the website set up, right? All that, it'll be LinkedIn Remastered season 2. Right. So we're going to call them seasons, I think. And so we'll do another one probably in January, but I'm going to start talking to people now who my speakers are and get sponsorship to cover some of the costs.
I have a question for you, Mary. So since you did the event on your company page and you used the lead forms and you exported the CSV, when you were plugging the opt-ins into your like event email communications, you said you had your VA do that. Did they did they do that manually one by one, or did they use like a Zapier?
So the CSV file, they just upload the CSV file and we have a list in Active Campaign.
Okay, and then so it checks for duplicates by itself.
Yes.
There you go.
Now, here's one of the problems and I've got to figure this out, and I am not an email marketing expert by any means, but that all gets the duplicates out. However, when someone signs up 3 days before, there's 4 emails that are supposed to go out. You don't want all 4 emails. So that's something like I need to work on for the next one. I'm looking at my list of other, issues that I came up. I'm sure there were more.
Mary,
No, that's good.
Go ahead.
Well, I was kind of curious. I attended your entire event, right? I was wondering how many conversions. Hi. I was wondering how many conversions you were able to get from your free to your paid, and if you feel that the fact that was a kind of a like a nonprofit, a charitable thing. That's what I'm thinking of. Do you think that helped you as well?
Yeah, so from the VIP tickets is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I learned some things on that too, like some of the wording probably needed to change. Oh, this is kind of odd for me because Kristen's here and she was in the master class and we have a session tomorrow. So
I'm one of those clients she picked up, so.
Nice.
yes, so what I would do differently is I would change some of the wording on the landing pages. I would make, so there are some, strategic things I would do. The wording would be different. The freebies would be right there under each person's name on that landing page where you watch the videos instead of having to, I did follow up with an email. So that was, another touch point. Conversion, I think we sold 39 VIP tickets. Totally not the number I wanted. My goal was 100. But being that this was my first one, and that, the coach I was working with, she's like, you actually did really great because our email list was so small. So not to offend anyone here, but I was told to pick people who had great email lists, and my speakers did not have that. So we had a very low email base to reach out. So the email list size that we had and how many people I got signed up and how many tickets I sold was actually a pretty decent conversion rate.
Awesome. Great
Okay.
job.
I picked my speakers because they're amazing. And, so I always want to deliver value. And I feel that the speakers I chose, some of them are right here, were amazing and really delivered the value. So that was more important to me. But would I want people that had a 6,000, 10,000, or actually the one lady in my coaching group, she had a total combined of 300,000 emails. That was her reach. Wow. And she only had 700 people sign up for her summit. So I feel we only had a reach of, and most of them were mine. I think I have like 5,500 on my list. So we had right under 10,000. I only had an email reach of 10,000 and we got 500 people signed up.
That's great. That's
so
awesome.
Conversion rate, totally worth it. Imagine if I had the email reach of 100,000, right? But our people pushed it on social media. We had a strong social media presence, and the LinkedIn event really helped doing that event on LinkedIn.
Here's a question for you, Mary. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kristen.
Oh, that was
you sure?
me.
Oh, sorry, Stephanie.
That's okay. So one thing that kind of is coming up for me as you're talking about this is the fact that just because people have huge email lists, it doesn't mean their people are engaged, right? Like because I write emails for 1 million people, and I can see the size of their lists are ginormous. But then if you look at the engagement rate, before we get in, right? It's really interesting to me, that you're saying, if I just chose people with bigger lists and whatnot, because I think there's something to that if they have an engaged list, but if they don't, you have to be careful. So there's got to be a way to go into this and have some sort of grasp on the actual engagement rates of the list, as opposed to just, I have a huge list.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I chose people that brought value and were experts in their industries, Isaac and you, and then I had Bez on the panel. I'm very happy with the speakers I chose, and I don't know that I would follow that advice of, they have to, I've been asked to do summits before, and you had to have a minimum of 5,000 people on your list, and you had to have a social reach of over 10,000. And I don't know how their summits turned out, but I was not impressed in the back end as much. So moving forward, I would still pick quality people over email lists, but I would ask that they put it out on social maybe a little more. Maybe they need to do 4 social media posts, or maybe it's 3 social media posts and you have to invite 500 people minimum to the event on LinkedIn. So these are all things that I would do a little differently. But Kristen, the other part when you were asking, so the VIP tickets, they went okay. They weren't where I had hoped. I wanted to write a bigger check. Oh, My cat. I wanted to write a bigger check to Benavia, but that's okay. The next one, I'll be able to do that and pick a different charity. And then the whole point, is I'm launching LinkedIn Accelerator. And so we will be funneling people into that 6-week live coaching program.
But, and I can tell you, Mary, as somebody who did participate in all of this, and I'm asked to participate in a lot of stuff, right? You're one of the reasons why I did stay with you and I watched everything was the quality of your speakers, right? Stephanie, Isaac, all of you guys were obviously experts in your field. And for someone who doesn't have a lot of time, I'm more inclined now to stick with you, right? Reach out to Isaac, which I did. And, and now people are asking me, well, who are you using, right? So I'm more inclined to say, check out Mary, right? So I think that strategy is a good one. And it's one that I know in the past when I've had to put things together and bring people, it was always about value, right? And so I just as someone who did participate, I was very impressed. I learned something from everyone. And, in my background, where I come from, I'm used to people like, oh, take my checklist, take this. And it's just a big pile of fluffy crap. And, and I've wasted my time and it ruined my perception of that person. So
thank you for that feedback. I appreciate that so much. Yes, Bez.
Thank you for picking me to talk, Mary. Hey, so my question was, you mentioned you wish you would have had a bigger check to give to Benavia. What was your goal and how far are we off?
So when I first started this 3 months ago, my goal was like, a $5,000 check would be great. I'm at $1,000 and I would have liked to at least given them $1,500. I would like to walk in there with a $1,500 check for them. And I feel that would be, that's a good chunk of change.
So if I maybe for the next week pumped up your 57, well, I don't know what's the cost now, 97?
97.
Okay. If I went and, when are you going to give that check? Because I'll see how much more I can raise for you.
Probably the beginning of the month, September 1st. So the event is still up. People can still grab the VIP.
Okay.
So yeah, sure. I'm not going to say no, don't push it out. Heck yeah, push that out.
Yeah, no.
But that's a great question and a great conversation, because you could follow up with your speakers and give them an update and say, hey, this was great. This was our first run. Give me some feedback. Also, here's where we stand with the donation to Benavia. And our goal was really a little bit more. So maybe you'd share that this is still available to the end of the month.
Mary, I'm happy to share it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And you're right. Thank you, Tracy. Great advice. I love that this is a safe space to bring our thoughts, ideas, our problems, our I had hoped.
Also, they got a bunch of brand awareness too. Like I never knew who Benavia was before. Like that's going to matter in the long term too.
And if you check, obviously seniors, elderly, and dementia and Alzheimer's is near and dear to my heart because of my mom. And before my mom had Alzheimer's, I thought it was just a disease where people start forgetting things. And then my mom went missing. So I want to bring awareness to dementia and Alzheimer's and what people can do about it. And like I said, I interviewed 3 organizations and I chose them for the work that they're doing in the community.
Awesome.
So have any of you tried text message alerts around your events?
Please don't.
I use my message alert.
Obviously it's not them, but have any of you tried that? Because I think it is more successful to remind people on an ongoing basis.
So I would have to text them every day?
Oh, no. It's like the day of, just a reminder.
I
To
use
remind them
text
to sign
messaging.
up?
Yeah.
Say that again.
No, to remind them to show up.
Show up.
Show up at the day of
I've
the
done
event.
that.
So I have to babysit them?
No, it's all automated.
Yeah, so Monty's
I'm
just
just-
saying, should you also add as a communication channel text or SMS reminders like you would email for all of the registrants?
I've actually had a lot of people in the past thank me for the text reminder. They're just like, oh gosh, thanks for telling me. I didn't, check my email, or my email box has 20,000 messages in it, or whatever. And they appreciate it. I mean, of course, it's riding the line of not being annoying and doing it too much and, invading that space. But, a reminder of something, I think it's great. And at least my community has expressly written to me saying thank you.
You just make it optional when when they register, make it optional. Would you like to be reminded? Because it works. I know plenty of people have used it. It works. And when you make it optional, they're not going to be surprised when they get this text message because they opted in to do it.
Yeah, a lot of the funnel type programs, and sorry about the noise if you can hear it, we got construction going on here, but a lot of the funnel programs like ClickFunnels or Kartra, that's part of what you can do. So if somebody's filling out or the registration saying this is what we want to do, then you can, and they add their phone number to it, sending a text message the day of the event, like an hour or two before, is extremely effective because it's just that quick reminder to jump on the call.
Yeah,
Well, you
we're
think
not-
about
you're
the
just
email that
reminding them. You're
Isaac
not-
sends, right?
You're not trying to get anyone to buy anything. You're just reminding them of something that they already have committed to doing. So I think it
So
would be
just
very
like
well-
the day of the first, the day of the first day of the event, you would send, hey, we're starting today for the week-long event. Don't forget, mark your calendar, blah, blah, blah.
We do a mix of email and also text message. So we use it directly on ActiveCampaign, and we use salesmsg.com. So you can just put in the steps, and it really
Nice.
works well, at least for them, either to share the link on text message sometimes
So is
so
that
they
an
can join
active
directly.
campaign, Andres?
Yeah.
Is that,
It's two
I can do-
services, but it's actually salesmessage.com. It's directly from ActiveCampaign.
okay, because I have active campaign too. So
Yeah, so you just have to put the credits on it, and you can put it as part of the sequence map that you have there for the automation map.
interesting. Okay, as long as it's already in a program I have, like I am
Yeah.
not trying to add another program at this time. Until
You
I
can
do
put
my-
you can even put a step that says like, put your phone number if you would like to be reminded. And then if you
Ah.
put in the sequence that there's a phone number, if it's a true phone number, immediately they get a text message with that.
Cool.
Let me
And it's
write that
all
one down.
not automated. You're not sending all these text messages individually.
Exactly.
So Mary has to leave in just a minute. Mary, I have an important question for you.
Yes.
Since you use the company page lead form for the event, there's one click opt-in, but there's also the checkbox that says I'm okay with receiving marketing emails. So I've encountered mixed ethical responses from people that we work with. Like some people are like, we've got to abide by the rules. They're saying no to marketing emails. We're going to email them about the event only, and then maybe we can get away with doing a follow-up recap of the event if it's not like weekly. Some people are like, I'm desperate to grow my company. I'll manage the risk. So I was curious, when you're having your team go through and do what you were describing earlier, what your plan was after the event.
I will not
for that
email
piece.
those that said no. There were only a few that checked that box.
That
So
said
we
yes.
will go, yeah, so they're on a separate list in LinkedIn or in Active Campaign, and
Mhm.
they're not getting my general emails right now. They are only getting event emails, and I might even send an email asking if they would like to get like weekly tips from me. I've got to figure that part out. I'm actually getting ready to pare down my email list. It's time, as Stephanie says, an engaging list is great, but you pay so much money, it keeps going up, and I'm like, If you're not, why am I paying for someone just to be on my list if they're not going to ever open an email? So about twice a year, we go through and we do a series of emails asking people if they want to stay on.
Well, and I think too, there's been a number of conferences that I've signed up for that put me on their drip. And like 6 months later, I'm looking at this email going, this is no longer in any way relevant to me. Why am I getting this? And it's an unsubscribe. And I don't know that that actually does what you want it to, depending on the percentage you're looking at.
I think the key is during the event, or before, during, and immediately after the event, when you're still in communication because of that event, you have to be very intentional about giving the option to click a button, and then so they're saying, yes, I'm okay. So if they're not going to do it on the form, let them do it in the campaign. So like a trigger link or whatever, where they just have to click it, one click, they're already there in your inactive campaign for the email, one click, and then they're on a different list or they have a different tag or whatever. I think that's probably the most proper way to do it. I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, I still have a lot of follow-up work. I have my bonus class tomorrow. Kristen will be there. So we have the VIPs get a bonus class with me. So we have that tomorrow. I have 2 live shows, another live training. From 8, I told my husband, I have 8 o'clock, my 9 o'clock, I have an 11 o'clock. Oh wait, the bonus training's today. Sorry. That's the 11 o'clock. Then I have a 3 o'clock. So, and there'll be more follow-ups next week with the LinkedIn Remastered group. And one of them will be, do you want to continue getting emails? If not, unsubscribe. No hard feelings.
Cool.
Congrats, Mary.
Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like you did a really great job.
I'm happy. I'm
Yeah,
happy
you're
with
doing
my
the back
first
end
one.
for all
Now
of
it's
us
time
here.
to
Wonderful.
do some more.
Mary, did you try doing any kind of event registration on any other channels like Facebook or
No.
anything? No?
No.
Okay. Just curious.
I feel like I don't have the staff to do Eventbrite. I don't have the bandwidth to have multiple sign up places. I feel like that do you see my shoulders? I'm like,
yeah. Unless you maybe if you had a campaign that you could just turn on and off that was paid maybe, and then just they sign up they all sign up in the same place. That'd probably be the best way to do it with a smaller staff.
yeah.
But you got to set it up and then turn it on and off.
So we have the
future.
landing page. So we directed everyone to the landing page, which will be turned off, right? Obviously, I got a meeting with my web person Friday, talking about the next landing page that we're creating for the LinkedIn Accelerator. And she managed, the free version and the VIP. So I guess eventually, a question I'll have for the group, do I move everything? Because I'm on Squarespace. Do I move to a member, a different platform? I have total control turning on the videos, turning off the videos. I don't know. That's another session.
Yeah.
Mary, before you leave, my deal next month is going to be to a very specific audience of these 500 people, let's say.
Great.
It's not about trying to market it and get everyone to kind of come. I want to get as many of these 500 people that I'm targeting to go to come to it. What do you recommend in that environment where you've got a fixed audience that you want to target, not a marketing? It's not a marketing thing outside of that circle.
So use that filter that you told us about when you're inviting people. Filter by industry and only invite those people in that industry.
No, I've got a LinkedIn lead list with 500 people on it. I mean, I've got my list. I don't have to search at all. I know who they are, what companies they work for. How would you do things differently if you had a finite audience as opposed to wanting to get more people to come to it?
I would still do the LinkedIn event and I would invite those people to the event. Okay. And then I would do the email. I would do email drip campaign. So export those people that sign up, you bring them over to your email provider and you already have your email set up, your automation where you're like, thank you for signing up. Here's what you can expect, right? And then, the second one, what we're going to be talking about. And then the third one, hey, we're getting started, the day before you send that email. I would do an email.
That's not any different from what you would do for the regular crowd, is it?
No, but you still have to nurture them and you still have to remind them.
And I think if you have a really targeted audience, you want to be really honest about why it's important that they're there, like why it's important to them that they're there, and just be as direct as possible with that.
Like if I use examples and stuff, my examples are very specific to that particular industry segment. That's what they're gonna.
And don't underestimate the power of a personal invitation.
Okay.
Or
one thing,
do a video call, record a video and send it to them, message them on LinkedIn.
That's a great idea.
Oh, sometimes I'm good. I gotta run, you guys. I'm like, wow, that was really good. I would record one video, but I would send it out. I would message it to those 500 people. I gotta run because I've got my show and we've got to do a little prep. So y'all have a great day. It's so
Mary,
good to
thanks
see
for sharing.
you at 11. Gotta run. Bye.
So yeah, we discovered that because we have a number of clients where our primary call to action has been since the last couple months to invite their connections to an event. And what we've learned, Mike, if you're going to do this for this upcoming thing, is the event title is like super critical. Like obviously it's like, oh yeah, of course, but the title is make it or break it. Because you send the invite and they just get Mike has invited you to this event, and that's all they really see. And so you have to hook them with that title, and they need to feel like, oh, this is just exactly for me. So whatever you put in that title, make absolutely sure that they think right away, ooh, I need to check this out. This is for me.
Perfect.
Like we were doing one, we were doing an event with a company. They work with people who are in L&D, learning and development. And they had a couple events where the event title was very clearly related to that. And then they got clever and they did like the curious case that like they were doing like a movie play with the title, and the event signups were just like awful. Same audience. That week was an anomaly of failure because the title was clever but didn't matter to anybody. So
you guys, little tip, use the share through headline analyzer when you're trying to come up with your titles for your events. Just Google share through headline analyzer. It's an incredible tool that will help you knock those out.
You want to put that in the chat window for us, Stephanie?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then for those of you who are like, what are they talking about? What is the spreadsheet you're talking about?
I'm getting this screen that looks like all the page formatting is gone. Is that what you're seeing?
For share through?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't even worry about that.
It looks like a bulletin board from the 1980s.
It works like a charm. I'm telling you, this thing is amazing. I don't know what's going on with the bottom of their screen. Something's not loading. But right now, all you would want to do is where it says enter a headline in green is literally write your head, copy and paste your headline in there or type it in there and then click find out. This tool is the bomb. I use it all the time.
That's awesome.
All right, I'm putting the in the chat.
I didn't have any of that formatting in it. I'll just restart.
It should look like that. Or is it not showing up that way for you?
Yeah, for some reason it's white on the bottom. I don't know what's going on there, but
it's just their HTML. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
But you can, enter whatever you want here, right?
That's our Aboriginal.
By the way, if this works really well, you can use it for the hook for your posts.
I use it for everything. I've been writing copy for 26 years. I use it all the time.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, it's free. You gotta love a free tool, right?
Absolutely. I put the link to the sheet in the chat, just for those of you who are not familiar with that. Whenever something gets brought up, we just kind of put it all there just so it's somewhere. All kinds of stuff in there. All right. From CRMs to tools to all kinds of stuff. You might love some of it. You might hate some of it. It's there. Okay, cool. Well, we've got about 10 minutes left. Mary went first. She had to go. Does anybody have anything we can help each other with? Did you struggles, trials, learn anything where the group can help you out?